Okay, I'm now going to show you how to create a stalking layout. So what we're going to do is we're just going to create a new layout. So we've already created a layout here. We've got our 8-chart layout. We're just going to go new chart. So we'll just go make a copy. We're going to call this 2.0 stalking. Save. We're now going to go down and make it a 6-chart layout. So we're going to go a 2 column by 3 row. And this is our stalking layout. What we need to do now, just remember to press save as well. Every time we make changes, just make sure you're pressing save. So it will prompt you when you close it, but it's just good practice to make sure it's saved. Okay, so we've got our little favorites toolbar here. We've got our arrow, trend line, horizontal array, rectangle, horizontal line, fib extension, fib retracement, and our text. That's pretty much all I ever need. So I turn off the drawings panel to get that out of the way. It gives me more real estate. There's less information my eye needs to take in. My mind is just less noise on the screen. So just turn that off. Okay. So we've got a 6-chart layout here. We're now going to make this a stalking list. So when you scroll on your mouse, you can sort of zoom in and zoom out. If you ever need to reset it, there's also a little reset chart view that comes up. So let's just reset all of them. Okay, something that I need to show you is a couple of settings we need to make sure we've got turned on. So just going to right click. I'm going to bring up one of my charts, one of my layouts that I currently use. So there's my stalking layout, one I prepared earlier, as I say on the food videos. Just right click, make sure all your settings are like this. And I actually turn off that indicator by clicking the eyeball to make it visible. We don't need that. Let me just hide all this. Get rid of that vertical line. We don't necessarily need the vertical line 30 bars back, so we can hide that. Okay, and then what was recommended to me is so that we know what, and then with our stalking list, we need to unsynchronize the symbol and the crosshair. We don't want them synchronized. We want to be able to make the top left YM, top right ES, for instance. In the middle left, we're going to make that gold. On the right, we're going to make that copper. Bottom left, we're going to make the crude oil. Bottom right, we're going to make that natural gas. And then because we've got our favorites up here, in a previous video, we created our favorite time intervals. I can make this, if I spot a trend on the 1 minute, I can make that 1 minute. On the ES, I saw a trend on the 15 minute. On the gold, I saw a trend on the 15 second. On the crude oil, I saw a trend on the 5 minute. We don't want them to be synchronized. Now, it does get a little bit confusing. So the way just before I talk about that, I'll just show you. So let's just say we've got a momentum move. A little hack as well to make things a bit easier for us. You can maximize the chart, and then you can restore the chart. Makes it easy to draw things. So let's just draw a momentum move. So we've identified that we've got a momentum move. Let's draw that on. So we're going to click our arrow. Now, if you just click the arrow on the screen, it doesn't lock onto anything. Press the delete to remove that. If you hold down the control key at the same time, you can see that my crosshair is now magnetically locking onto everything. So I can hold down control, find the very bottom, locks on, snaps to it. I've just drawn my momentum move. I'm going to put in a trend line for like an S1 potential setup. Now, because it's a long setup, we want it to be green. If we wanted that to be red for a short setup, it's just one click on the trend line, brings up an additional menu for that line, and we can just change the color to red, change the color to green. Since it's a long pattern, we can just grab it and move it up and down. Restore that. Now, the way I know that I'm actively stalking this is I color code it. So I've created a color theme. So stalking, it makes it gray. So I can very quickly see what I'm actively stalking and what I'm not stalking. The way I do that is I right click on the screen, I press settings, in appearance, so on the tabs on the left hand side we click appearance. We're going to change the background to a grey, so just come over here, make it grey. I've actually made a custom grey that's a little bit lighter. You can do that by pressing the plus symbol and just adjusting it. So I've got a grey that's a little bit lighter. Then I've actually saved that. Save as. I created one called stalking. I'm not going to do it again because I've already done it. So now when I click in here, color themes, I've got stalking. It makes it grey, so I know that this is actually something that I'm actively stalking. I've gone in, I've framed it, my momentum move, I've gone in, I've put my lines in. I can even put my alerts in, so I use a horizontal ray for that. If price action breaks this point, we want the alarm to go off. I make that blue, so it's a different color, and then the alarm is just this here, add alert. And we know that we've got an alert set because we've got a little alarm clock icon here. I'm going to delete that. It's giving me a confirmation because I'm also deleting an alert. A little quick shortcut to removing all drawings. You can just right click on the screen and remove drawings. It'll remove everything off. Remove drawings. Now I'm not stalking this, so I'm going to put it back to default. Back to default. So that's your 6-chart stalking layout. It's really important as well, I didn't cover this, but I'm going to cover it now, that we save this layout, we save this appearance, we went through, we got all these settings done the way we wanted them, we then save it as default. So that when we use it, we always use the default settings. There's something I need to show you as well with the vertical line. The vertical line indicator, I've actually had problems in the past with it. It's a setting that's really important to be to check. If you use this vertical line indicator, it's possible that your chart will look squashed like this, like squashed right down. The reason it's doing that is, I'll just reset this, the reason it does that is it's one of the settings over here. So we go into vertical line, click the more, the ellipsis, and then it's pin to scale. We need to change that pin to scale setting to be no scale full screen, and it will fix that crushed price action. Okay, I'm now going to show you how I create a 4-chart layout. With the 4-chart layout, go into stalking, make a copy. We're going to create this, call this with our naming convention 3.0, and we're going to call this our, this is a 15 second, so high frame, 15 second. Save. I'm going to make that a 4-chart layout. Press save. This is our 4-chart layout. We need to just adjust a few things to make this right. So remember we set up, in a previous video, we set up our EMAs. We're just going to go into our EMAs and press the settings, style. Because this is our mid frame, we're now going to turn on the EMAs that we need for the mid frame. So we need the 34 EMA on. So in settings, style, EMA number 4. We've just put on our orange indicator, so we've got our 34, 21 EMA band. And then on our high frame, we need to turn on our 5 EMA. So just going to go over to the indicator, press the settings, and we're going to turn on EMA number 1, which is grey, which is our 5 EMA, and press OK. And then you can see if we zoom in, we've now got our 5 EMA on our high frame, and on our mid frame we've got our orange 34 EMA. And once again, we've zoomed in quite a lot. We can just reset that by pressing the little reset chart view button. Okay. We now need to make sure that our time frames are correct. So we want this to be our 15 second. Remember we've named it high frame 15 seconds. So this is our high frame. We're going to make this 15 seconds. Mid frame is going to be 5 seconds. Low frame is going to be 1 second. High frame is going to be 1 minute. It's also important that we untick the interval. Make sure that the interval isn't synchronized. What we want is we want the symbol and the crosshair synchronized. It's important that the crosshair is synchronized so that when we're looking on our, for instance, our high frame, we can see what's happening on our mid frame and our low frame. So just make sure that we've got that. Another thing I want to show you is we can actually change. So if we're putting a trade, an S1 or S2, we're interested in the low frame. If we just need a little bit more real estate on the screen, we can just drag that across to the right. You can also drag it up or down. If you ever need to reset, you can just double click and it takes us back to default. Alternatively, if we're on an S3 pattern, we want a little bit more room on our mid frame, we can just drag this to the left, give ourselves a little bit more room. If we need to reset, just double click. Okay, we've now created a, this is our trading layout for our high frame 15 second. We now need to duplicate this all the way through for our time frame. So we're going to go to save that. We're going to down arrow. We're going to make a copy. We're going to rename this 3.1 high frame 1 minute. And we're going to save that. Now what we need to do is we just need to go in and we just need to change the time intervals to match our high frame. So our high frame is 1 minute, so bottom left is our high frame. Let's make that 1 minute. Our mid frame 15 seconds, change it to 15 seconds. Low frame is 5 seconds, and our high frame is 5 minutes. And then press save. Okay, and then it's just a case of rinse and repeat. Just repeat this process. So make a copy, just keep making copies. High frame 3.2, high frame 5 minute, save. Change the time intervals, so high frame is 5 minutes, mid frame is 1 minute, low frame is 15 seconds, high frame is 15 minutes. I don't need to show you how to do all of these, it's just a case of repeating the steps, and just remember to press save. Okay, once you have done this, what I like to do is I like to marry up all these time frames so that they follow my symbol. So the way we do that is we use our color coding feature. So I'm just going to right click on the tab, not stalking. I'm going to right click on my high frame tab. So I'm going to make that red. So 3.0, 15 second is red. 3.1, 1 minute high frame is red. 3.2 high frame 5 minute is red. The reason I do that is they're now united. So when I click on the symbol, so YM, you'll notice that these three tabs are all changing. So I'm going to click on gold. All three have changed to gold. Why this is important is if I'm identifying a pattern on the low frame and it's too many bars, potentially it's a pattern in one time frame higher. Well, when they're united, I don't want to change the symbol, I just want to go to the next higher time frame. It's here ready to go. Alternatively, if it's too few bars, if the pattern's too short, it might be a pattern in a time frame lower. Well, I don't want to click on the symbol and the time again. I can just click on my 4-chart layout in a lower time frame, and there it is. So I find that a really handy feature. It's just right clicking on the tab and then changing the color to unite them. Okay, on this 4-chart layout, this is also where I place my orders. The way I do that is I come down here onto the far right to our tool tabs, and it's just down here, order panel. And this brings up our order panel so we can connect this to a broker. I'm going to do this on its own video.